This is a 1947 Gibson L7 that is getting refinished because, well, it was refinished once before and not refinished very well. So it's getting refinished again. Nitrocellulose lacquer, of course, and I wanted to take a minute and give a little quick tip about using nitrocellulose lacquer. One of the things you read about it is, well, an advantage of it is that it can easily be blended into an old finish, which is kind of true, but what sometimes happens in the process of wet sanding and buffing the guitar is I'll occasionally get a little breakthrough where I sand right through the finish back to the bare wood, and I have to do a little touch up. And even though the experts on the internet will tell you that the new lacquer will just flow right into the old lacquer, you can always see what they call a witness line, where a newly laid on coat of lacquer shows up, well, right at the border of the new lacquer and the old. On this guitar, I had a little breakthrough on the back. There was a spot I was chasing, and I wound up breaking through the dark color right in front of the binding. So I sprayed a little bit here, first color and then clear coats over it, and I want to be able to feather that in nicely, so even though my problem was right here, the newly sprayed lacquer extends out pretty far. What I found that really helps the new lacquer blend into the old lacquer, and by old I mean it's 2 months old, it's not 70 years old, but what has worked well for me, about 2 days or 3 days after I spray my touch-up area, so the lacquer is dry but certainly not fully cured yet, I'll buff it at that time and pay particular attention to the transition from the older, drier lacquer to the new lacquer. So I'll use the buffing wheel to heat this area and hopefully melt the touch-up into the other lacquer and not have that witness line showing. Because even after wet sanding, if I can't get that line to go away right now, it's still going to show up after the sanding that I do 2 or 3 weeks from now, once I know that the touch-up is completely cured. So just going to give that a buff on the wheel. I'm not looking for a big shine. There's still little particles in the finish, and I just want to heat up this area and get it to blend in more smoothly. Yeah, that's nice and warm now, and that should do it. I don't see a hard line. I'm not even going to try to show it on the camera because it will not show up there. But I've heated this new lacquer quite a bit and hopefully gotten it to blend in with the old, and I won't have any trouble with the line showing in the transition. So that's it. Just thought I'd pass that along. And here's another quick lacquer finishing tip. In videos I've done in the past, I've used mineral spirits to lubricate the sandpaper, and for years this worked out fine, but something has changed in the formulation of the mineral spirits. I've noticed this for I don't know, about a year, I guess. But it used to be I'd do the sanding and then wipe off the mineral spirits, and I could see where I had to sand more, like, you know, whatever dents and depressions there were, that the finish wasn't quite level. But now it leaves this weird film, like an oily film, on the surface of the lacquer, and I really can't tell where I need to keep sanding. It doesn't wipe off. I've tried blowing compressed air at it, and it seems to take like a day for that film to go away. So I've gone back to using water as the lubricant. And in order to break the surface tension a little bit better, I'll just put a couple shavings of ivory soap on the surface, and then I'll get a little bit of water on the sandpaper and dab it onto the soap, and this seems to work quite well. Back decades ago, when I was first putting finishes on guitars, I used water with dish soap, and that worked fine. I'm sure it still does, although I really like the smell of ivory soap. Anyway, the nice thing with doing it this way is when I wipe off the excess, I don't have that oily film anymore. I can see exactly what I've sanded and where I need to sand more. So if your mineral spirits you find are all of a sudden leaving a film that won't really resolve, try soap and water. It works quite well.